Michelle Obama calls for Trump to get kicked off, and Mark Zuckerberg says absolutely. Michelle Obama's statement is very wordy, as the Obamas are wont to be. You can read Barack Obama's third memoir. I think it's only 800 pages right now. So I'll skip around a little bit. Obama talks about how she is so happy that radical socialist Raphael Warnock won election in Georgia because he's going to be Georgia's first black senator, first socialist senator too, I think. Then first senator who ever hosted Fidel Castro at a church. That's, wow, big, wonderful history, isn't it? Then in just a few hours, my heart had fallen harder and faster than I can remember. Like all of you, I watched as a gang, organized, violent, and mad. They'd lost an election, laid siege to the United States Capitol. Oh, terrible. Did she watch BLM over the summer? Not sure she did. Oh, no, she did, because she gets to it later in her letter. This summer's Black Lives Matter protests were an overwhelmingly peaceful movement. Oh my gosh. Our nation's largest demonstrations ever, bringing together people of every race and class, encouraging millions to re-examine their own assumptions. And for those who call others unpatriotic for simply taking a knee in silent protest, for those who wonder why we need to be reminded that Black lives matter at all, you know, nobody needs to be reminded of that. Yesterday made it painfully clear that certain Americans are, in fact, allowed to denigrate the flag and symbols of our nation. They've just got to look the right way. So Michelle Obama also stoking all these racial tensions, which she did for her entire public career as well. She makes the claim that Black Lives Matter is overwhelmingly peaceful. I guess I'm willing to grant that. I mean, they did torch cities coast to coast for a very long time. But sure, of the people who say that they support Black Lives Matter, I suppose it's a small percentage who get violent, right? And yet she says that here, these Trump supporters are violent thugs, a gang, criminals. She doesn't seem to afford the Trump supporters quite the same grace that she affords to Black Lives Matter, even though, just as a simple matter of numbers, the Trump supporters are much, incomparably more peaceful than Black Lives Matter has been. Both in the riot, even at the riot on the Capitol, compared to the torching of cities for 6 months, but also just more broadly. BLM has come out, they are an explicitly Marxist organization. They say they want to disrupt the entire society, right down to including the nuclear family, and they have used violence repeatedly. Lots of blood on the hands of BLM. She won't afford them the same grace. She won't afford Trump supporters the same grace. And then she says, here's the key. Now is the time for those who voted for this president to see the reality of what they've supported and publicly and forcefully rebuke him and the actions of that mob. Now is the time for Silicon Valley companies to stop enabling this monstrous behavior and go even further than they have already done by permanently banning this man from their platforms and putting in place policies that prevent their technology from being used by this nation's leaders to fuel insurrection. BLM, mostly peaceful protest. The riot at the Capitol, insurrection, which justifies the censorship of the sitting president himself. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Michael Knowles Show. To check out the full episode, hit the link in the description or download The Michael Knowles Show wherever you listen to podcasts.